Welcome back from that break, and now to matters arising. What do you think are the legalities surrounding the local government chairman suspension in Edo State and the political tussle that has been going on in Edo State particularly? And on this program today, we'll have someone interesting who is going to speak to us about the legality that surround the suspension of the local government chairman. And he is Barrister Andrew Ewanta, who is a lawyer and a member of the APC. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and good evening to our viewers at home.
All right. I said earlier, your state, Edo State, have been on the news in recent time. You know, if we are to give this Guinness World Record, I think Edo State should have won, because it's been Edo and Rivers, and of late we've seen so many drama going on in your state. So, but then, talk to us for a better understanding. What did the law, or what did the Constitution say, really, concerning the suspension of the local government chairman by your governor?
Thank you. I think it is not just a one-man show, as it were. It's not really about the governor. It's about our system. And Section 7 of our Constitution, which talks about a system of democratically elected councils being guaranteed by the Constitution, gives the State House of Assembly the power to make a law. The word used was a law for the existence, establishment, structure, finance and functions of local government councils. And it was on the basis of that provision of the 1999 Constitution, precisely Section 7, that the Edo State government, through the House of Assembly, in their wisdom, in 2000, passed the Edo State local government law. If you ask me, that is a constitution that regulates the activities of local government councils in Edo State. And Section 20 of that law permits the governor, in consultation with the House of Assembly, to suspend any local government chairman. Right? The word suspension means that it's for a 2-month period during which an inquiry will be done. And for that period, that inquiry is what will now determine the culpability or otherwise of the local government chairman affected. But because it was something involving the 18 local government chairmen, because when the present governor, Senator Movelu, came into office, he was very clear that he was ready to work with everybody. And that is why, if you notice, the House of Assembly that is even populated by the PDP, you know, it has very good working relationship with them. The same meeting he had with the local government chairman through his deputy. And at that meeting, he noted, because according to what the governor said, the Accountant General of the state brought records to him as the, you know, because as governor, he pretends over the state. So at that time, he needed some explanation on certain financial transactions that took place, particularly between when the election held in September, 21st September, and when he left, when the previous government left office and when he assumed office. But he noticed that there was a particular amount of money, about 800 million, which came from the joint account the state maintains with local governments. And he noticed that for over 15 months, this money were paid into a particular account, and it was from allocations of local governments. So he needed clarity on that. So that request was made to the local government chairman to please bring in their statements of accounts to know how come 800 million was paid into a particular account on a monthly basis, and there was no nexus between that and specific projects in the state. They had an understanding that within between 24 and 48 hours, these documents will come, you know, to the governor. But you know that they refused to submit this record. Even after a week, that request was made. So the governor was not constrained to put this thing before the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly would have intervened, but the local government chairmen were not cooperating. So that was what now prompted the governor to write a petition to the House. And the House acted based on the provisions of Section 20 that allows the governor, in consultation with the House of Assembly, to suspend any local government chairman. And of course, it happens that I'm one of those that were appointed into that panel. And I can tell you that what we have seen so far will blow your mind.
Exactly.
The level of financial malfeasance and the mistake people keep making.
But sorry,
we make reference. I'm coming. We make reference to a Supreme Court decision that deals purely with financial autonomy, but that does not in any way take away the responsibility of the states to regulate the activities of local government. That is a constitutional duty, and until the provision of Section 7 is amended, the local government councils in Edo and in Nigeria by extension are still under the control of states. Because what we are looking at is fiscal responsibility. We argue that state governments cannot tell them to account. How come they respond whenever there's a request by the EFCC? The law is very clear that they are under the control of states. What the Supreme Court says or said in that judgment, pay them their money directly. It is not the same thing as allowing them to spend this money the way they like, because these monies are meant for development. The moment the issue of abuse comes in, that is what triggers the intervention of both the House of Assembly and the state government, as it has happened.
But then, according to the law, who are the local government chairmen accountable to? Are they accountable to the governor? No.
They are accountable to the people. And who are the people? People's representative, members of the State House of Assembly. They passed that resolution that the governor acted on. The governor had made that request based on the provision of Section 20, right? And the House of Assembly now resolved that this person should be suspended for the reasons given. And the governor acted by now saying, people will be suspended for 2 months pending when that inquiry is concluded. That particular fact was not before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court decision has nothing to do with that particular fact. What the Supreme Court said, you cannot dissolve on your own the local government councils and appoint critical committees. The people who are there now were elected by the people. We still have all the councillors. It is one amongst them who is the leader of the legislative house that has now taken over as chairman, because that is what the law says, as acting chairman. And as they say, nature abhors vacuum. Nature does not allow vacuum. Once somebody vacates a seat, the law will normally allow for some other person to occupy that seat. And the question is, these persons, will they elected? The answer is yes. Because local government council under the state local government law is seen as a corporation with perpetual succession, so that one person cannot hold a local government to council. You can't say because you are local government chairman, you will not account. And that is why the draft as of our constitution says a joint account. And
that's the complication here. To account, they are to account to the councillors and not the state governor.
There is twofold. The councillors themselves, whenever comes to the issue, I'll try to move out. Some
people will still see it, the interference of the governor. Some people will still see it as abuse of power, because according to the law is clear.
It's not abuse of power. It is the law that has made it to Section 20. Except we are not saying that the people who drafted that provision of our constitution that allows the states to legislate for local government were wrong. But we need to amend our
phone lines are now open for you to call in to join the conversation. I am sure a lot of you have been waiting. So our phone lines, use the number on your screen to call in case you want any clarification or have something to contribute. Okay, right. But then you as a member of the committee that was set up panel that was set up to probe this the allegation. Tell us so far, what have you come to realize, or what have your investigation, how far has it gone, and what have you?
I think we are making progress, but the major challenge is that
I heard you say, if you tell me what we saw, or what
no, the thing is, they've been going to various courts in Benin and Abuja trying to get orders. They are not parties to any of these cases they have filed in court. So we are trying to ensure, because of course it's very obvious that the chairmen are not ready to appear before our panel, right? Because we've made certain overtures, and obviously they are trying to elongate the process. And again, let me tell you the implication of, you go before a federal high court in Abuja, you get an order.
Excuse me,
I'm just trying to be true with that.
Someone here. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Glad to have you join us on the show. Your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me? Hello, if you can hear me, well, your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, man. Hello, so much. I come for Odo State.
All right, please go ahead. Are you there? I'm sorry, you might have to call us back. Oh, all right, Barrister, please go ahead.
I was trying to anchor on a particular point, because the drafters of our constitution, they were very clear in what they meant by the state having the authority, through the House of Assembly, to make laws for the existence and all of that. And once that law is passed, that law now becomes the ground norm, right? That will regulate local government councils in a particular state. And in those states, we have this law that allows the governor, in consultation with the House of Assembly, to suspend an area chairman, right? And just as I was saying earlier, they've gone to court to get, and even the latest they got from the Federal High Court says that parties should maintain status quo. The implication of that is that whatever decisions that have been made, you wait until the final determination. That will even further elongate the time within which the governor is supposed to submit the outcome of our report to the House of Assembly, since they are all parties in that matter, right? And having said that, we are talking of suspension, but the boss has gone past the issue of suspension. The councillors in more than 16 of these local governments have impeached this local government chairman, bringing us to what you said as to, are these people not accountable to their councillors? The councillors being aware of these malfeasance, like I mentioned, the 800 million, but they have somewhere that they cannot account for.
Excuse me, please forgive me. You have to give me a minute. Hello, good evening. If you can hear me, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Glad to have you on the show. Kindly tune down the volume of your TV set, please.
Hello?
All right, please go ahead.
Hello, this Monday calling from Lagos.
All right, Monday from Lagos, please go ahead. We can hear you. Oh, we lost that caller.
Yeah.
All right, I'm listening.
You know, so as I was saying, it's essentially what the law is. Until the law, that is Section 7 of our Constitution, is amended, and the provisions of Section 20 that allows the governor, in consultation with the House of Assembly, to suspend an errand chairman. It will be difficult for us not to agree with what has happened as one that is based on not just legality, but constitutionalism. But also to say that, as it stands, these persons that have been impeached, they have a right to challenge their impeachment in court. Have we forgotten in 2024 what happened? Philip Shaibu was impeached by the House of Assembly in less than 1 week. In a very commando fashion, he was evicted from the government house. He went to court, he got a decision in his favor. The district government, led by the PDP people that are now making noise, are the same people who said they should allow the due process of the law.
You think the PDP are noisemakers?
Of course, they are the ones making this cacophony of noise. Yeah, and the question we are asking them, during their time in government, did we run the parallel government? They are trying to run the parallel government. 800 million of taxpayers' money being used for politics. At the appropriate time, we are going to bring out details of how these monies went into private accounts, how these monies were used for election.
If I remember correctly, you were a commissioner under this under the administration of Governor.
Yes, I was a commissioner until I now decided to take a leave from both his government.
You took a leave, but you were sacked. Were you sacked or you took a leave?
ESCO was dissolved, but I said I didn't want to be part of government again. And there were issues that led to the dissolution of ESCO. Some of us raised issues around financial malfeasance, a situation where a governor decides to send a bill to a board I was a member of 1.7 billion for software that would not last for more than a year, or just 1 year. And you now ask for a 3 years contract running into billions, about 5 billion, meaning that they thought that they were going to be in government beyond 2024 September, November 12th, when Obaseki's term also end. I raised the red flag. The following day in ESCO, Philip Shaibu raised issues around using funds meant for oil producing communities without a board. For over 1 year, they ran the activities of the District Oil and Gas Commission without a board. It was just 2 persons allocating billions of naira. So when that standoff came, the man dissolved his ESCO. And even when my people said, oh, let's feed you back, I said, no, there was no way I would remain in such a government that first, that does not respect the rule of law and had high levels of corruption amongst members of that government. And that was why I left. And I didn't resign from the party. I resigned from the PDP. And by the grace of God, we moved into the APC. And we won back the governorship of Edo through the APC. Because it is about our people. The reasons why we have issues now is that the government has said we must upset this apple cart of PDP leaders trying to milk our local councils dry. There's no development at the local government level in Edo State. Because the money meant for development are being used by individuals who are not in government.
Obaseki never worked throughout his administration.
Did I say so? I'm talking about local governments here. I'm not talking about, after all, the topic here is not Obaseki.
No, something leads to something. So
no, I'm not saying, you asked why I left, and I explained why I left that government, right? And the facts have not changed. And I'm happy that I'm in a government where we have a governor that listens. We have a governor that wants to develop our state. Right? And the good thing about it is that the governor did not dissolve the councils. People would have wanted that, because the way and manner the elections were conducted, September 2023, leaves so much to be desired. But the governor said, no, we must follow the law. And we followed the law.
Okay, I am concerned about the manner in which the governor has approached this, because we already know that there is a law which, if the local government chairmen are found misappropriating the funds of the state, the councillors, they are accountable to the councillors. But now your governor has taken it up, regardless of the the law that we have in place. How do you think this will make other governors look? Don't you think this is going to contradict the law that exists between the local governments and the state governors? Over the autonomy that has been passed.
I don't think what you are saying is correct, and I'll say why it is not correct. You use the word regardless. Section 20, as I said earlier, allows the governor, in consultation with the House of Assembly, to suspend an area local government chairman for a period of 2 months. Right? That is not the same as removal from office. Section 19 talks about how a local government chairman or vice can be removed from office. And it is the duty of councillors. And I just brought to your attention that in over 16 local governments, I heard the 17 took place the other day, these chairmen have been impeached by their councillors. Whether the process was strictly followed is a different kettle of fish.
But the process is supposed to be followed strictly.
No, you don't understand what I just said. I said whether it's strictly followed is a different kettle of fish. I'm not a court to now sit over whether it was followed strictly or not. Right? I'm not a councillor in these various local governments, because these local governments are populated by PDP members. The chairmen are PDP members. And I think what we are seeing is a microcosm in Edo of a larger crisis in PDP. You are aware that today, 2 different persons went to the PDP National Secretariat, laying claim to the office of National Secretary. In Edo State, the story is the same. What we have is a ragtag escort called Ketika Committee, appointed by Obaseki. So they say charity begins at home. It is a crisis within PDP, we are saying. What the government has done is to follow what Section 20 said. The impeachments that have taken place is an internal issue of the PDP. Those councillors are PDP councillors. So the politics that has gone into it may be what political scholars read meanings into, maybe the state government, but that is what it is, politics. But what I think is most important is the development of our state. And that is a driving philosophy of the governor. The governor has now assured them that these monies will be paid directly to the councils. In the spirit of that decision of the Supreme Court on financial autonomy, you don't need to keep their money, pay these monies directly. What we saw under Obaseki was that they would tell the local government council, the chairman, to sign off part of their allocation. They put it in one account. From there, they start sharing for political reasons and not for issues of not for reasons tied to development.
Okay, but then don't you think it would have been right enough, for this probe to be done if your governor, Senator Monday Okoblo, has noticed or suspects some kind of mismanagement in fund, isn't it the duty of the EFCC to investigate this actually and come up with the final result?
Is what Section 20 says. Section 20 says that you set up an administrative panel of inquiry. Section 20 of the local government law does not say you should invite the EFCC. And besides, Section 20 was passed even long before EFCC became an agency of government. EFCC was created in 2004. That law resisted the EFCC Act of 2004. And besides, the money we are talking about is at least government money. It's not federal government money. And I think some of us have even argued that when you have a state issue, be careful the way you bring the EFCC. Because once they seize this money, you can't get these monies back. But when you use your internal mechanism within the state to get your money, yes, they will return the money, and the money will be used for the purpose for which it was meant. Most governors in the past that took away state funds away, by the time the EFCC came, that money was forfeited to the federal government and not to the states.
Yeah.
But that is not to say that the EFCC will not do their work. If there's an offense against the provisions of the EFCC Act, of course, certainly we have also invited the EFCC to do their own investigation. We will not prevent them, because financial crimes are federal offenses that the EFCC can prosecute any person for.
Okay, but then looking at this act or this step which your governor Senator Monda has taken few months into office, do you think it's really about eradicating or trying to manage the fund properly, or is it like a payback time? Is it like some political torso, like a payback time to the opposition party? Is it what it is?
There's no right time to do the right thing, right, or proper time to do the right thing. If you want to build a house, there's a faulty foundation. Are you going to wait till you finish the house before you take care of that faulty foundation? Of course, there's a faulty foundation, and that's why the man wants to fix it now, so that he can properly hit the ground on it. I think that answers that question.
All right. So then let's talk about today the PDP has come out to say with confidence that the September election that brought in Senator Mondo Okobolo, which is before the court, the PDP is so much confident that they have so much confidence in claiming back their stolen mandate. So do you think, if you are to assess the election that brought in Senator Mondo Okobolo, how credible is it?
Yeah, it was an election that I was there as a voter. We voted for Senator Mondo Okobolo. That was why he won. So if the PDP being at the tribunal as petitioners, let's see how far their petitions will go. Their petition, I beg your pardon, and the petitions of other parties also took us to the tribunal. Some of the other smaller parties, of course. But the good thing about this is that the people who voted will be invited as witnesses. Isn't that so? And how strong is their petition? Most of the allegations are neither here nor here. Neither here nor there. So you discover that they have put up a petition, and we have also responded. So it's better we allow the tribunal to decide, because the people have decided, and they chose Mondo Okobolo as their governor. And I believe that their petition will be thrown away, and it will fall like a pack of cards.
You're not worried that they might reclaim the mandate?
Which mandate? The mandate was given to Senator Mondo Okobolo, and that is the person that Edo people elected as their governor, and is performing based on that social contract he has with Edo people. He is not losing sleep at all about their petition at the tribunal. They are just trying to hype. They are very good in hyping PDP.
They're very good in hyping.
Yes, that's what they are trying to do. Because that's the only way you can keep your supporters. You must give them hope, albeit false.
There is this saying that say never. What if it happens?
But again, there's nothing that prevents things from happening. Only God that decides.
Exactly, and that's why I say nothing prevents things from happening.
The tribunal is a court of first instance, It does not end there, does it? It ends at the Supreme Court. So I will have a very good legal team. I believe the legal team is also good. But it's even better we allow the courts, the tribunal to decide. It's not for us to now start preempting. But PDP is just trying to distract attention from the crisis in their party by now referring to the Edo situation. We have a governor and he's performing. If they say our government is not performing, we engage them,
Tell us how well his performances are. Tell us how well he's been performing in the last few months since he got into office.
I will start with the promise he made to Edo people. And it's Christians, a new Edo is rising, a 5-point agenda. First on it is security. And I can assure you that the security in Edo will remain. It has come to stay. And if you ask, what is the main duty of government? Section 14 of our Constitution, sub 1 2 says, the security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. And that was why, when drafting his campaign manifesto, he put security as first on his list. And if you ask the average Edo person, for those who came from far and wide during the youth-tide period, they will tell you that they didn't record any incident of crime or criminality. Why? Because the government was able to rejig the security architecture. The issue of courtesan has been dealt with headlong. And beyond that, issues of environmental sanitation, issues of traffic management, and in terms of road construction, massive road construction has started. Within the first 1 month in government, he has flagged up a couple of roads. The remaining part of the Temboga Road, the Kewan Road. He has even, flagged off the first ever flyover. If you know Benin City very well, you know that main artery that takes you to the east and to the north through the Auchi road. You know, it's called the Hill area. By Raman Park is putting a flyover there, the first ever. What we had in the past was Obaseki establishing a Ministry of Road and Bridges. He didn't build a single bridge. When you ask them, they say culverts and bridges. But for the first time, we are going to be having a proper bridge. And it's not just one he plans to have in Benin City 3. I mean, those are elements of developments. How will you say you are a city, you don't have a single flyover bridge? I mean, it's a shame. You go to the UK, even Lagos, I'm going too far. Lagos, even when we are here, they have over 5 flyover bridges there. But in other states, that has become a bane of development, the problem of traffic congestion. And that's one of the things the governor has assured the people. He will fix them in the area of education. He has a plan to, like, you know, during the time of Oshomola, what we had was a red roof revolution of ensuring that we don't have leaking roofs in primary schools. I said in Obaseki's government, he didn't do anything tangible in the area of, you know, fixing infrastructure in schools. And that is what this present government is doing.
I am curious about asking, you served in Obaseki's administration. If Obaseki was still in power and if you were still under his administration, would you have condemned the things you have condemned?
No, you know, what is good, what is bad. Those were issues we raised when we were in government. But, you know, he said no, that he's a technocrat. He believes in providing tablets. You cannot provide tablets for students when the roofs are leaking. So I think those were areas where we differed. But this governor believes in practical governance, and that's why we call him Akbakomiza. He's a performer, he's a reformer. He believes in being practical by now asking, can somebody use a tablet when you don't have electricity? Can you use a tablet when you don't have chairs to sit on? You cannot give a child who sits on the ground tablet. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. The first thing is to face infrastructure, which is the hardware. Every other thing will follow once the infrastructure is right. And that is what this government is doing. Massive, you know, school rehabilitation, providing, you know, security too, because he said, you know, the vigilante has been reintroduced, so each school will be well manned by security personnel. Because during the time we were in government, we had issues where you have court wars, then you see stray bullets hit primary school, you know, children. We had more than 1 or 2 of those instances when we were in government. But I think this present governor is using the holistic approach, you know, in fixing our schools, providing security, you know, ensuring that the infrastructure is good. Then he wants to massively employ teachers. He's talking of 5,000, and I know once he's given his scorecard, his first 100 days of office, he'll be able to give us specific areas where he has intervened.
All right. Then there is this concern about is a occult group in Edo State recently that has been terrorizing the peace of Edo people. I heard you spoke about security, and I was going to ask, in that regard, what has your party, of course, the current administration, your party is the government of the day, done in that regard so far? Yeah, we've seen it recently on the internet. We've seen that it's beginning to look like a situation that's about to get out of hand.
It must have been last year. I mean, after the elections, we had issues of that because some of these vigilante people who were court members, they still had some of the arms they gave them during the elections. I mean, to prosecute the elections. So trying to disarm them was not an easy process. But as I can tell you now, we don't have that situation again in Edo. The governor has given a no tolerance, you know, policy to this problem of cultism, you know. And the problem is, you had people in government who are members of these courts. So what do you expect? So they were getting patronage, were getting protection from those in government. So, but I assure you that this present administration has, as I said earlier, zero tolerance. And as we speak, the anti-cultism law is being reviewed to impose stiffer punishment for those involved in cultism and violence related to cultism in our state. You spoke about some sort of people being used during the election to you know, cause chaos during the election. Of course, some of these people were giving arms and.
But I want to understand by who and which people exactly.
I mean, at the time we had a government in place, a PDP government in place. So the process of disarmament globally, you know, is not an easy thing. Right, and even for those who were previously part of the vigilante, we are now trying to profile them. We want to know, what do you do and all of that. And this time around, it's not just to give people arms and call them vigilante. You must also provide some form of financial support to them, so that when you don't provide funds to these people on a monthly basis, I mean, don't give them, you know, allowances. You are now allowing them to use what they have to get what they don't have, and it's risky. You don't give a man a gun without paying him a monthly, allowance. I mean, something like a living wage. In the past, they just engage all manners of persons without giving them some form of support. And again, the money is meant for these people. If really that 800 million was for environmental security, this money was meant for this vigilante. But whereas instead of using this money for that purpose, these monies were used for election. Because the probe is still on, there are certain things I cannot say on national TV. We are going to submit our report, and at the appropriate time, even the EFCC will be brought to apprehend some of these persons that will be listed as corporates who collected this money meant for the development of our various local governments.
So what should we expect while this probe is still going on? Because if I understand better, I know that a lot of these local government chairmen are mostly of the opposition party. I heard you spoke.
Not mostly, all of them.
I heard you spoke.
Yes, some of them have said they have joined. I mean, some of them have started making those moves to join. I mean, the councillors
to join your party,
to join
APC. APC. So now I want to understand better. Having it that most of these local government chairmen are from the opposition party, so what should we expect in return of it? What should we expect from this probe that is going on? Is it that is it really a probe that is going on to investigate the fund that has been misused, or a way of trying to make the opposition party, who are mostly the members of the PDP, handicap?
Let me give you an instance. There were two local government chairmen who said, they want to come and join us. Was on Tuesday. They were impeached on Monday. So it means that it didn't have any effect on what the councillors felt. And again, as a panel, we have decided that we will get to the roots and submit our report. You don't need to join us if you have a corrupt background. Even if you join us, that does not provide some form of immunity, because you have to answer to the people. Because for me, it is the people that matter in every democracy. The people's funds that you have stolen, you must account for it. And that is where I think the EFCC comes in. Because the moment you use the money meant for development, that is a financial crime. And once you are found culpable, it's either you are made to refund, of course, if fine will be imposed, or you go to jail. There are certain options that would normally be, levied by way of punishment on such individuals. And again, what is important for me is the Edo taxpayer, is the Edo market woman that needs a roof over her head. And I'll give you an example. The impeached chairman of, suspended chairman of Edo, who is a brother, a direct sibling of Governor Obaseki, claimed that he spent over 2 billion naira to build a market that was bombed called Ecusa Market. We have that on record and we collected that amount of money, but there was nothing to show for what they said they spent that money for. And I think those are the kind of things that the EFCC will be interested in investigating.
Again, due to, I've heard you mention some section of the law, but the manner and approach which this probe is going on in your state and which the governor has taken it, do you think it's a good example or good omen for other state governors? Because this autonomy that has given the local government chairman to funds to be directed to the local government accounts, looking at what happened, we understand clearly that to an extent, to certain level, the governor has to oversee it. But what do you think? What do you think the approach and manner which he has taken this up will create in other states?
I think every state has its own peculiar situation or circumstance, and even their own laws. Like those states, if a local government chairman does something that is detrimental to the interest of the people of his particular local government, the governor has the power, in consultation with the House of Assembly, made up of people from various constituencies of that state, to suspend the local chairman for 2 months. Maybe in other states it's outright dissolution, but I don't support outright dissolution, because the Supreme Court has said once you have a democratically elected council, and when you say council, it consists of the chairman, vice chairman, and the councillors who are elected from the various wards. You don't have the power to dissolve them. In this case, it's different. We didn't do anything like dissolution. We only suspended those erring chairmen. And besides, there's a big whole lot of difference between financial autonomy, right, and autonomy in the truest sense of the word. Autonomy means that nobody can regulate you, nobody can. But that is not the letter and spirit of the provision of Section 7 that places local government under the local parentage of states. And besides that, we discovered that we have a very unique federal system. States are not even fully autonomous. Remember that the resources of the states embedded in the ground by nature, it is the federal government that controls the oil in your state. What they give you is just 0.30% of the entire 100% that any person who comes prospecting for oil gets. Your ports, it may be within your land territory, it belongs to the federal government. Certain taxes go to the federal government. So in terms of autonomy, states are not really autonomous, right? They enjoy financial autonomy to some extent. They enjoy certain autonomies to some extent. How about those things listed in the exclusive legislative list? Over 100 and something things that only the federal government can do, even if it falls within your state as your territorial borders and all of that. So you discover that it is one of the drafters of our constitution in their wisdom, right? Gave as the authority to states to decide the fates of what happens within their domain, which includes the local government councils. Until Section 7 is amended, states will still be in charge of the affairs of local government. But what the Supreme Court has said, don't stamp out their money, right? Allow this money to go directly into their accounts as it comes to the federation account. Don't use the joint account as a tool, start spending monies meant for local governments. That is what the Supreme Court has said. But it does not mean that they themselves, the local government, the protection the Supreme Court or the law has provided for them, they will not abuse it. It is the abuse that the district government is interested in, not their funds per se. Because assuming that money is used to develop a community, will it not be to the credit of the governor? Because it will be said that it was during his time that road was built. It was during his time that community market was built. It was during his time electricity came to community A or community B or community C. So that is the kind of partnership the government wants to have with these local government councils.
Okay, I've listened to a number of people advocating that Mr. President, His Excellency Bola Tinubu, call Senator Mondo Oblo to order, and also the Attorney General of the Federation, so that the way and manner this is going does not undermine democracy. What is your thoughts, or what is your take on that? I
don't know. I think the PVP spin doctors or their media, aides, either of the former governor, Juan Cruz Osage, or the former information commissioner, who is the quote and unquote secretary of the caretaker committee. They have a rack at the school. They went to town that told the Attorney General said no. At that time, the Attorney General had a different press conference when the question was asked concerning what has happened in Edo. He had not studied the facts. I remember he said that not as he does not have the full facts, but a government cannot just dissolve the local government council, right? That it is councillors. It was his opinion he was giving. At the time, he didn't have the facts. But when he got the facts, he now realized that it was based on the provision of Section 20. Have you heard him speak since that time? The governor, or rather the president, you also asked a question concerning the views of the president on this issue. I had a meeting with governors recently, the Nigerian Governors Forum, right? When he visited him, they paid him, special homage, I think 2nd of January. And it was very clear that people should not misinterpret his intentions, that local governments are still under the control of states. Remember when he was president, so when he was governor of Lagos State, it was during his time, LCDAs were created. Those LCDAs, they still exist. True of us. So he believes that states must play that big brother role in running the activities of local government. But that does not now mean as a state government, the money meant for local government, you will now use it for states functions. No. But ensure that those monies are properly utilized. And if they are hiring chairmen, just as Section 20 of the local government law in Edo provides, you deal with that person according to the law.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister. Our time is up, and I will have to say a very big thank you for taking out your time to come. Well, trust me, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and I'll also keep I want you to keep me posted on what is actually going on how the whole probe of opinions are going, because we've got our eyes this period on Edo, because it's been so much of a political drama from there. Well, viewers, at this point, this is where we call it a wrap on today's show. Thank you so much for watching, and do stay tuned on Kaftan Television for more interesting updates. Barrister, thank you once again for coming.
My pleasure to be here.
Have yourself a great evening. Bye for now.
Thank you.